Today, we're doing a review of the all-new Mission Workshop Meridian backpack. In this video, I'm gonna break this bag apart from my experience of reviewing 500 of the world's best bags, and I will leave no stone unturned. We're gonna talk about the pros and the cons, we're gonna pack it out, and if you're not quite sold that the Meridian is the bag for you, you're gonna wanna stick around to the end of the video, where I'll make some alternative bag suggestions that might better suit your needs, because here at Nomadization, our goal is just to help you find the best gear for what you need. Okay, let's talk about the gist of the Mission Workshop Meridian backpack. All right, so for today's review, it's myself, Aaron, in front of the camera, our media manager, Margaret, behind the camera, and this guy, the Mission Workshop Meridian. Star of the show. If you don't know, Mission Workshop is a US-based brand, and one of the few brands that still manufacture in the States. So their HQ is in the States, and their factories are also in the States. And this is very important, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. And they're known for making pretty rad gear that's often quite weather resistant and has integrations with like its own modular ecosystem, which this bag has both. Let me run you through some of the top features. The bag has a really interesting aesthetic, highlighted by its square shape and this front pocket that has a rain flap on it. Aside from that front pocket, we've got a larger admin pocket here that's like full clamshell, which is really bizarre for an admin pocket like this. Kind of cool too. We also got some pretty gnarly fabrics, all from Challenge sailcloth, including the exterior fabric and the interior lining. Clamshell style opening into the main compartment. A killer laptop compartment. I'll explain why 3 chapters from now. An improved harness system. And most interestingly, and potentially controversially of all, is the new land speeder modular ecosystem that allows you to quickly add and securely connect any side modular attachment points that you're wanting to mod your bag out with. I got a lot to say about these guys, some pros, some cons. We're gonna talk about that a bit more in depth 2 chapters from now. As of recording, the Meridian comes in 3 color options. Now this bag is advertised at 26 liters capacity, but here at Nomadization, we always double check these things. Now before we put the balls in the container, let's just do a dimensions check. That's where we got a height of around 18 inches, a width of around 12 inches, and now a fully packed out depth of about 10 plus inches. Now here's the thing with measuring capacity, it's a bit more of an art than it is a science. I've only loaded up the main compartment. Now you can see when I've done that, there's, a bit of space for capacity in this compartment, but this is more used for flat items. And the same thing with the laptop compartment, it gets really tight in there, so really just your laptop. So the main compartment by itself should give us an idea of the bag's primary capacity. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. We're just at about 26 liters with the main compartment. So what this means, if you take the 2 front pockets and the tech compartment, you're probably looking, 28-ish liters, 29, even 30 if you really pack it out. So it's a very, very healthy 26 liter backpack. All right, for the weight, Mission Workshop says it weighs 2.7 pounds. I'm getting 2.8 pounds on scale number 1 and 2.7 pounds on scale number 2. This is the bag when it's compressed empty, and this is the bag when it's fully packed out and worn on the Nomadization team. I'm 5'8", our media manager's 5'2", and don't worry, I'm gonna pack out the bag throughout the entire review so you can see exactly what it fits. All Mission Workshop products are protected against their warranty. It doesn't say if it's lifetime specifically, and it only applies to the original owner, so be sure to keep that in mind. And for all that, without any modular attachments, this bag runs around 395 USD. And that's where that made in USA part comes back again, as to where bags and really anything that's made in the USA is always gonna come at a much higher price tag. And for some people that's really important, and for other people it's not. But if you're one of the people who it's really important for and you're just totally digging this bag and you're thinking about making a purchase, we highly suggest doing so using the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes. But that link also helps to support the Nomadization YouTube channel and team so we can keep making the best bag reviews on the web. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk about the front of the Mission Workshop Meridian backpack. We always start off this section talking about the aesthetic, and I don't know, Margaret, what do you think about the way this bag looks? You dig it? Yeah, it's funny because I think it's got an interesting kind of look to it, as to where it's not like beautiful, it's a little Frankenstein-y, but even my wife, I always ask my wife when I come home with a new bag that I'm testing, I'm like, babe, what do you think about this one? She's like, I kind of like this one. It's got a very boxy shape, Margaret thinks it's a little Evergoods meets Tortuga with the vibe, but more or less, I think it's got a little meanness to it. And a lot of that's gonna have to do with the fabrics that this bag is utilizing. So let's talk about them. So this main fabric is EPX 200, and it's made by a company called Challenge Sailcloth. And as the brand name suggests, these are fabrics that are typically used on sailboats for the actual sailcloth. This is actually what X-Pac has been doing for a very long time. Challenge Sailcloth is a new competitor on the scene, and they're doing really great work. A fabric like this has a lot of benefits. Mainly, it's weather resistance. You see this? Like, water's just gonna roll right off of it. But it's also got a pretty light weight to it, because to be honest, at 2.7 pounds and 26 liters, given just how overly constructed this bag is, I thought it would end up weighing a bit more. The only negatives to keep in mind with this fabric and the internal fabric, both Challenge Sailcloth, both very weather resistant, are they got a plasticky crunchiness to them that could really drive some people, as my dad used to say, batty. But one great thing about the fabric is it does help to give the bag a bit of structure, which helps itself stand, but it's also really expensive and a contributing factor to this bag's high price point. Logo right here, super subtle. Love that. Now let's jump into this pocket right here, and it'll be sort of the starting point of a recurring theme for this bag, which is its weather resistance. As for Mission Workshop is always a highly weather resistant bag brand. It's a weird sentence, but their Rake bag, this is mean looking camo roll top that we reviewed a couple years back, and it's one of the coolest bags if you're into features that I've ever reviewed, and it's stupid weather resistant. And the past week in Hong Kong, where I live, has been a monsooning, like, hailstorm hellhole. I actually love it. I think I love the rain. So I've been carrying this bag the past few days, and it's been perfect because it's so weather resistant with the EcoPack fabric and the PU coated zippers that I just knew that all my stuff was gonna be safe. And I can say, like, walking in multiple monsoon-like conditions throughout the past few days, all my gear inside the bag bone dry. Does not mean this bag is waterproof though. But things like this little front flap certainly help. This front flap I think is an interesting design choice too. They didn't need it, right? They could have actually just like cut this thing and then just had the PU coated zipper right here. This is more weatherproof than this. Because although you got the weatherproof fabric and the weatherproof zipper right here, you've got seams. See all these little stitching lines right there? Which water can get through. So keep in mind with that bag, all around these zippers there's always seams, which means that if you're in a Hong Kong style monsoon long enough, you can get drenched, or whatever's inside your bag can get drenched. Huh? That's a good point. So our media manager, Margaret, thinks that they should have added a couple of magnets on this bad boy, which then would have given it a bit more of a flush look. What do you think? Would magnets have been the right call? Do you like it as is? Should they have just chopped it all together and had just the zipper exposed? I don't know. I think it gives it a bit of character, but it's also a little goofy. Let me know your thoughts on this design choice in the comments below. Now, underneath the flap, we have a YKK PU coated zipper. Thing to note about YKK PU coated zippers. YKK makes the best zippers in the game, so these zippers, they're gonna last. But PU coatings do not always last. This will vary depending on your bag and your environment and the amount of usage it gets and the exposure to humidity and sunlight, but just be aware that PU coated zippers can end up looking like this after a short to long period of time, usually within a couple of years. It's never a guarantee, but it's something that I always want someone to be aware of if you're buying a bag at this price point. Because sometimes we get people pissed in the comments. Dude, what the hell's happening in my bag? All right, in this compartment, just basic, no additional organization. Now, it should be noted this front pocket is a little awkwardly sized as to where you think it's big enough as to where you can get larger things in there, but it's only 8 inches high. So my typical size notebook, not making the cut. Evergoods Cap 1 pouch, like everything that I wanted to put in there was just this close. Over the head headphones, so I just ended up keeping my sunglasses in there. Easy to access. And then, oh God, yeah. There was a little clip right there. Magnets, just for that lid. Whoever puts magnets on a backpack lid, genius, that's all I gotta say. But if that pocket's not big enough for you, don't worry. The next one's gonna be, as to where it's got that clamshell style opening, and voila, we've got our admin compartment. Now, as Margaret noted, this does exist on some bags with this kind of an opening with an admin compartment, notably the Air Travel Pack 3. And we got a nice amount of organization here, but first let me tell you about this lining. Because this lining is also from Challenge Sailcloth. And again, it's sort of that plasticky, weather resistant sort of a vibe, which again is not gonna make your bag waterproof, but it's another line of defense. Like in case you are in a Hong Kong monsoon and the water gets through the initial layer, you got this backup layer saying like, dude, don't worry, I got it. No way this rain's getting by me. But for some, it might not be light enough. It's a little bit of a darker hue, so it doesn't create that highlight effect in the bag that a lot of people have really grown used to, especially in more modern, urban, techie bags. In this compartment, we got a zippered pocket on top that goes down to here. Key leash, 2 power mesh pockets, and a zippered power mesh pocket at the bottom. I'm gonna pack it out with just some stuff that I might want quicker access to and to organize, so you get an idea of how different things fit up on in there. Bottom pocket here, great for an umbrella, especially this time of the year in Hong Kong. Oh my God, it's been nuts. If you live in Asia, let me know what your summer has been like, because Hong Kong has been insane with the rain this year. Now the power mesh that's utilized here and in these 2 pockets, I think it's great for pockets. Reason being, it's elastic-y, right? It expands really nicely. It gives you a bit of see-through. A little bit less so because this is double layered. So you have like 2 layers of the actual elastic mesh. And it also just feels great to the touch, very premium, which you might want at a $400 US price point, right? But power mesh can die over time if you overexpand it, getting kind of loose. It's like tight. There's a pro and a con with every design choice. In this pocket, I'm gonna throw my power adapter / battery. I got a packable tote. In the top pocket, we can go ahead and throw a typical size novel. That's about it. It should be noted if you like, you know, little pockets for all your smaller bits of gear as well, you can fit them in here, but like, it's just not the most pocket heavy bag that I've ever reviewed. And one last note in the compartment is it does have a bit of volume to it in itself. So if you want to throw Evergood's Cap 1 tech pouch in there, it'll also fit as well. That was a long front section. What are we on? 36 minutes already? Wow. Here at Nomads Nation, we do very thorough reviews. And if you're enjoying it, I gotta tell you, we're gonna go just as thorough when it comes to the middle. There's a lot to talk about, so let's jump into it. Let's talk about the middle of the Mission Workshop Meridian backpack. Starting with, at first, like I said, the bottom, pretty good self-standing bag, but there's not a lot of padding in this bag. So like if it's packed out awkwardly, it's not gonna self-stand. Think like in comparison to like the Air Tech Pack 2 or 3, whatever version they're on. That effort always stands. They threw a bunch of padding at the bottom, so it basically always stands. Or the Nomadic backpack, or the Carry Cubo backpack, the Lev 24. This one though, if packed out just right, will stand just right. And now I think we can go ahead and talk about these guys. The potential star of the show, many of the stars of the show, which is Mission Workshop's new modular ecosystem, which they're naming the Land Speeder Systems. And with this bag, you got 3 options. You got the bottle pouch, this guy right here, right, where you can cinch the top, carry a bottle in. You also have the slim pouch, right, which is just kind of a classic tactical style bag pocket, a little power mesh in there. And then there's one of these bad boys, which is just thicker, called the wide zip pouch, which we don't have. Now, the genius of the system, and I do think it's really very cool, is the attachment method. So on the sides of the bag we have right here, which is just a basic rail system. And what's nice about this rail system is for days where you don't want anything, you know, hanging off the side of your bag, because I do think these things look a little dorky, right? So if you want to go to a business meeting, you just want to slide this bad boy off. And when it's not attached, it looks, you know, still really flush. And the bag looks very fresh and very clean. Then you exit your business meeting, you're like, I feel like climbing a mountain right now. So you go ahead and take your water bottle. Again, you pull here from the Velcro, and you've got this plasticky piece, which is the actual insert. And then, come here, you just go ahead and slide this on in and take this guy and attach it from the back. And voila, you just added a water bottle holder. Now here's the deal. This is a really cool system, and like, I think the easiest part actually and the coolest part is detaching. So you can see right here, that was just freaking easy. And a lot of these detachable modular ecosystem things like water bottle holders and pockets, they're a bit more complex and tedious and time consuming. So props to Mission Workshop for really innovating. And actually I had a call with them before we shot this video, and they told me they got a lot in store for this entire system. This is just, you know, the tip of the iceberg. So I'm really excited to see where else they take this. You just gotta make sure that when you're getting it onto the pocket, that you're really getting the Velcro clip in there as tight as possible. Because while these are tight, it's still Velcro, right? Velcro is strong. You know, like I can literally hold the bag like this, right? So the Velcro is strong, but technically with this little pull tab, it's kind of easy for you to get off. It could theoretically be easy for a thief to get off. I don't know. I'm actually kind of splitting hairs trying to figure out what I don't like about this system. And for the water bottle holder, which I do think will end up being the most popular modular add-on, I've got the 1 liter Yeti right here. You can see we're just very nicely getting that to fit in there. And you got the cinch top right there. Go ahead, close that. It's a nice little water bottle holder for sure. Then you slide it on. Not as easy to put on as it is to take off, but if you're into modular ecosystems and you want control over the look of the bag and the functionality, this is easily one of the coolest freaking systems out there. But I'm curious to hear what you think. Like, is this a selling point for you? Is it a pain in the ass? Is it cool but too expensive? I actually think that I screwed up on the price. I don't think that's 65 bucks for the combo. I think it's 65 bucks per. Whoa. So let me know your thoughts on these bad boys in the comments below. A couple more points on the middle. We have some external lash points at the top of the bag. This uses a really basic kind of cheap nylon. It's just a little thing, but I do wish that, you know, this would have been upgraded. A nylon webbing like this is durable and tough, but just doesn't feel in line with the price point of the bag. Main compartment, I actually quite liked, because look at this. There is not a single pocket in this compartment. All we got is a good old-fashioned American flag right there. Made in the USA, baby. And you're paying for it, that's for sure. Now, clamshell style opening plus no pockets to me equals great weekend travel bag. So you can easily fit a packing cube with a week's worth of clothes. Socks, undies, dop kit with all your bathroom stuff. And then I think we got a bit more room to play with. Throw a tech pouch and an Unbound Merino hoodie in there. And this thing is easily gonna close. So if you're wondering if this can be used for EDC, yeah, because I just fit all my travel stuff in there. And this is stuff that I would normally put in like a 30-liter backpack, and this 26 handled it no problem. And a few reasons for that. There's no padding, or like minimal padding on this bag, which is great because it's keeping the weight down. It's just not, like with padding, it just makes it difficult to pack more in your bag. It really does. A little padding can go a long way with that. But also, the lack of any compartments or pockets or additional fabrics in the main compartment just make it easier to pack as well. This thing feels huge. And now you can see we got the packing cube at the bottom, self-standing very well. But before we jump into the next section, I gotta let you know if you're really enjoying this breakdown, then let me tell you that here at Nomads Nation, we don't just do epic bag reviews on our YouTube channel, but we also have the Nomads Nation newsletter. And in that newsletter, you can look at me like your reporter in the field for what's happening in the world of everyday carry and travel gear. I'm an EDC and travel gear nerd, so I'm keeping my finger on the pulse of what's happening in this community, from the biggest drops to limited edition collabs to the best deals. And if you're signed up, it means you get exclusive access to our giveaways and discount codes. So if you want to sign up to the Nomads Nation newsletter, all you got to do is look for this globe emoji in the description below. I hope to see you in your inbox. Okay, let's talk about the back of the Mission Workshop Meridian backpack. First up, top handle. This is a pretentious nitpick gripe of a thing. But again, just how I think these lash points kind of for the price point, so does this handle. It's just basic nylon webbing, no padding, no real thought went into it. Gets the job done, don't get me wrong. But it's one of those things where I'm like, just look at it, I'm like, that irks me. But the location is nice because as opposed to beefy top handles, those are hard to hang on like bathroom stalls, especially when you're traveling to new countries. Versus this handle right here, very easy to hang. Seems like it's stitched in there pretty well. Yeah, looks like it's pretty well reinforced. So it's gonna be functional. Just doesn't work for the price point for me. But then again, I probably brought the actual cost of the bag down a little bit. So, you know, win or lose with everything. Now, we got a little half opening to get into the laptop compartment. And then you can see what we got right here is one of the more cushiony and just mattress-like laptop compartments that I've ever touched. And I love what they did, because basically Mission Workshop took like a PU foam like this. This is a foam that you normally find in a shoulder strap. And I never really see or felt a laptop compartment utilize this. And the foam that they're using is like this thick, dude. So it's like 3 of these. And it just feels amazing. And the second I touched it, I'm like, is that PU foam? And I'm like, it is. And I'm like, that's genius. And it just feels really nice to the touch. And you've also, underneath it, got a little tablet sleeve right there. See if it can fit a 17-inch Asus VivoBook. And it absolutely can. You see that? Popping in right there. with room to spare. Then a quick little false bottom check. I think I checked this the other day when I was using it for my EDC. We got, there's not a huge false bottom going on. I feel like there's some padding at the bottom, slight elevation. Not the best false bottom, but honestly, there's so much padding on this bad boy that it just feels very protected in general. But let's just do a little crash test, shall we? Yeah, I can't even hit a laptop hitting. The padding is absolutely doing its job. Talking about padding, Mission Workshop has updated their harness system. You can see right here that we're utilizing a very breathable foam situation inside the shoulder straps and the back panel. And look at the cushion that's going on here. Now the shoulder strap width is coming in at 3 inches, which is wide. And I like that, especially with a bag this size. It's 26 liters, it feels like 30. I'll be putting a ton of clothes and tech stuff and water bottles in there. So I want like a little bit wider of a shoulder strap to help like just make the landing on my torso less painful. And then measuring the thickness of the shoulder strap, we got about yay much thickness that we're dealing with, which, what are we at? Just over 1 centimeter. Ultimately, it feels very, very cushioned. I wore this bad boy for the past few days, and it's a really comfortable bag. Minus one caveat, I'll tell you about in a second. We got laser cut Hypalon lash points on the shoulder straps, an interesting sternum strap system. We got web holders right here, so you can keep the dangle in its place, keeping No Dangle Dan happy. Smile, little guy. Because this bag's not only got the dangle stoppers at the bottom of the shoulder straps, but also on the sternum strap, which we'll talk about in a second. But first, luggage pass-through holder. Good news, it slides on, I assume very nicely. It's my first time testing it. I haven't traveled with this bag, but yeah. Very easy to put on and to take off. You can see right here, that's because of the space that's actually given on this luggage pass-through holder, and it's obviously a part of the back panel. So like I'm not worried about it like popping out anytime soon. But unfortunately, it does force you to lay your bag on the side. It's kind of like doing like one of these. And that's not my favorite for pairing with a suitcase. Always prefer if the bag is upright. What about you? Deal breaker? Don't care? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about the luggage pass-through holder. But one thing with the luggage pass-through holder is we got a lot of padding here in the back panel, which is great. More padding than the shoulder straps, it's super comfy, but with this sort of design, you can just feel like a bit of a buildup of fabric here that when you're wearing the bag, it's just like semi-noticeable. Yeah, these are just quirks again, nitpicks with what is honestly a pretty brilliantly designed bag. It just doesn't feel like the perfect flush, even distribution of back panel materials, just feeling a little bit more on the lower back. And not in a way that's painful, just in a way that's slightly noticeable. Overall, the comfort of the bag is exceptional. I give it like a 4.75 out of 5. But it also should be noted that everybody's body types are different. So if you want to ask about anybody else's experience with this bag, whether it's comfort, functionality, or any other bags, the best spot to ask is in the comments below. We got a very active community, but also not just here in the comments, but also in the Nomads Nation subreddit. Recently launched, highly active as well. Between the two, you should hopefully be able to have somebody in the community that can help answer your questions. Okay, let's talk about the overall pros and the cons of the Mission Workshop Meridian backpack. Pro number 1 is going to be its impressive capacity. Pro number 2 is going to be its impressive weather resistance. And pro number 3 is giving you access to a pretty cool and innovative modular ecosystem. But on the con side, we're going to flip the coin for the modular ecosystem. These things aren't free, and they bring the price point of the bag even higher, which is con number 2. This Mission Workshop bag and all Mission Workshop bags are very expensive. And con number 3, it's a nitpick, but that top handle, not a fan. But honestly, like, this is one of those bags where, like, functionally speaking, it just crushed. Because the laptop compartment's great, organization, great size. And just a reminder, if you agree with me and you think this is a pretty impressive bag and you're thinking about making a purchase, or you want to find out more information, we do recommend doing so with the first link in the description. Remember, that link just makes sure that you get the best price, and if we have any discount codes, that's what they'll be. But if you're not quite sold, let's talk about those alternatives that I teased earlier in the video. First up, if you're new to the Nomads Nation channel, I recommend watching our leaderboard video. This is where myself, our media manager Margaret, and a couple more members of the Nomads Nation squad get together and talk about our favorite distinct bags and our favorite distinct bag categories. This is a great video for you to watch just to get an idea of what the different and best options are on the market. But if we're pretty close with the Meridian, I got 2 specific alternatives that have some slight differences that might better suit your needs. All right, so Margaret's pick for the alternative is gonna be the Carry Max EDC. Great pick for you if you're loving the fabric and the size and the comfort of this bag. Carry kind of does all three of those things as well, very, very well, but they just kind of got like their own little twist with it. More luxurious internal materials, chunkier shoulder straps. It's close, but it's also just kind of like doing its own thing as well. And my pick for alternative suggestion number 2 is going to be the Carry Cubo Lev 24. Sort of a dark horse, awesome carry community bag. This is great if you are really digging that square-like shape, bag that can self-stand and still be super lightweight, but also that has impressive weather resistance and a ton of modular add-on options. Honestly, it's a killer bag from a new brand, and I don't think they get enough love. You can't go wrong with any of the 3 bags. They all got their own unique pros and cons, but to learn more specifically about the alternatives, just go ahead and watch these videos right here. I'm gonna leave them both on the screen for a second so you can decide which one interests you most. In the meantime, if you got any questions, be sure to let us know in the comments below or the Nomads Nation subreddit. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.